propose the gun salute to the special guest of honor, Reviewing Officer, President Commander-in-Chief. Actions taken in symbolism. Permission has been presidentially granted for the officers and guards to embark on the march past in slow and quick time. And of course, their tunic has been closely inspected there. Impeccable.
Your Excellencies, most distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. As earlier mentioned, we have 4 colors of parade this morning. The national color, the Nigerian Army regimental color, the Nigerian naval color, and also the Nigerian Air Force color. The sight of the colors creates a feeling of pride in soldiers and ex-servicemen alike. From ancient history, it has served as an inspiration for heroic acts of sacrifice. Colors have become the symbols of the fighting spirit of a regiment, for they bear the battle honors and badges granted to the regiment in commemoration of the gallant deeds performed by its members from the time it was raised. This association of the colors with the heroic deeds of the unit adorned on them has led to the custom of regarding the colors with reverence. The fact that colors are consecrated and presented before being taken into use and after service are laid up in sacred or public buildings. This helps to maintain the atmosphere of veneration with which they are surrounded. Colors are presented only to combat and combat support units or regiments. It is the responsibility of the unit presented with the colors to protect it, as the capture of these colors means defeat in battle situation. In line with unit representation, these colors are retired after every 10 days and new ones issued by the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.
Les couleurs pour les militaires est une source d'inspiration pour tous nos soldats et tous nos militaires. Elles servent comme une source d'inspiration pour tous les héros et héroïnes qui se sont sacrifiés pour cette nation. C'est aussi important de mettre l'accent sur le fait que tous les 10 années, ces couleurs sont retirées par le président de la République fédérale du Nigeria.
As our very gallant officers take their measured steps, it's appropriate that we begin to situate the significance of today. It's been 20 years of a broken political journey in Nigeria, 20 years of deepening democratic principles, 20 years of expanding the scope of Nigeria's democratic tradition, 20 years of delivering democratic dividends to the people. No doubt there has been times of challenges. There have been times that obituaries are written off the country, but what a wonderful country we have. It has a way of walking away from the operating table, standing tall and strong, and saying, here I am, Nigeria the beautiful. Morayo is here as we welcome His Excellency the President of Namibia.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me the wife of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mrs. Aisha Buhari. We also welcome the distinguished President of Namibia and also the President of Chad.
Your Excellency, the special guest of honor, Review of President Commander-in-Chief, Your Excellencies, most distinguished invited guests, now the march past in slow and quick time commences in earnest. Please, there are three very, very salient aspects, usually the parade of this magnitude. The first will be the breaking from slow to quick time, the individual guard halting, and of course the advancing in review order. It will naturally elicit your excitement and applause. Excellencies, happy viewing. Meanwhile, please, we want to sound a word of caution here, please. When the colors on parade pass by your sitting position, momentarily we are expected to rise. Officers and warrant officers in uniform to please salute. Once again, when the colors on parade pass by your sitting position, momentarily we are all expected to rise in deference. It is obligatory, it is mandatory. Colors on parade, momentarily. Officers and warrant officers, you please salute. Happy view, Your Excellencies. Thank you.
Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, on souhaite la bienvenue à son Excellence le Président de la République du Tchad, le Président Idriss Itno Déby. Une fois que le défilé arrive sur votre pavillon, vous êtes priés de bien vouloir vous lever à l'honneur et au respect de nos troupes.
Excellencies, most distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, approaching the saluting days is the full complement of the parade, being led by the parade commander, Lieutenant Colonel Mukhtar Sani Daruda. Trailing behind is the parade second in command, Lieutenant Commander Ikene Ada Isaac. Behind the parade second in command is number 1 guard, being commanded by Major Abdurrashid Mohammed Sani. The sub-guard commanders to the left is Captain Jibrila Usman Jibrila, and to the right is Captain Awal Musa. Trailing behind number 1 guard is number 2 guard, being commanded by Major Garba Usman Bukar. The sub-guard commanders to the right is Captain Kainde Oyeni Popola, and to the left is Captain Bala Abdullahi. Behind number 2 guard is the number 3 guard, an all-female guard, being commanded by Major Joyce Jumei Dauda. The sub-guard commanders of number 3 guard to the left is Captain Mata Fumilayo Sani, and to the right is Captain Echo Grace Bright. Between number 3 and 4 guards is the color party. There are 4 colors on parade today, which are the national color and the regimental colors of the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Navy, and the Nigerian Air Force. The colors are carried by commissioned officers known as ensigns to the colors. The ensign to the national color is Captain Abdul Malik Suleiman. The ensign to the Nigerian Army regimental color is Captain Jacob Ogbe Odon, while the ensign to the naval color is Navy Lieutenant Allwell Ikejika Ibe. And finally, the ensign to the Air Force color is Flying Lieutenant Ibrahim Aboki Zakari. Behind the color party is number 4 guard, being commanded by Lieutenant Commander Ungunan Haga. The sub-guard commanders of number 4 guard to the left is Navy Lieutenant Omar Nabi Mohammed, and to the right is Navy Lieutenant Victoria Bello. Trailing behind number 4 guard is 5 guard, being commanded by Squadron Leader Mukhtar Aliu Hayat. The sub-guard commanders of number 5 guard to the right is Flying Lieutenant Benjamin Okon Mark, and to the left is Flying Lieutenant Akinlola Oyedeji Uswangbadi. Behind number 5 guard is the 6th guard, being commanded by Superintendent of Police Denis Michika Tumba. The sub-guard commanders to the left is Deputy Superintendent of Police Aminu Suleiman Goro, while to the right is Deputy Superintendent of Police Aminu Shuaibu Ndabawa. And trailing behind is the parade adjutant Flying Lieutenant Khalid Nasiru Usman. Reverting back to their position is the mass band comprising of the Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force, and the Nigeria Police Force, being commanded by Major Raphael Mvene.
The officers and guards have just broken from slow to quick time. The synchronization of the rhythm of the band of parade, the arms and foot drill of the officers and guards naturally elicits your applause. Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy viewing, Excellencies. Once again, a quick reminder, when the colors on parade pass by your sitting position, please, it is mandatory, it is obligatory. We rise in deference to the colors. Officers and warrant officers in uniform should please salute. Thank you. Happy viewing. Usually, quick march is like mercuric gliding. The legs and the arms, and of course the music of the band on parade makes it very, very exciting.
Excellences, mesdames et messieurs, s'il vous plaît, rappelez-vous que dès que les couleurs nationales passent devant vous, on vous prie de bien vouloir vous lever, s'il vous plaît.
Approaching the saluting days is the full complement of the parade, being led by the parade commander, mounted on a Sudanese breed horse called GMB. The horse was donated to Guards Brigade by His Excellency, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015. The horse weighs 350 kilograms. Weekly change of guard parade and other brigade regimental parades which the horse has been used. It was also used during 2018 Independence Anniversary Parade, 2019 Presidential Inauguration and Swearing-in Ceremony. The parade second in command is mounted on a white mixed Sudanese and Dongola breed horse named Borotai. It was donated to Guards Brigade in 2015 by the immediate former Commander Guards Brigade, Major General M.S. Yusuf. It has been used for several occasions, which include the 2019 Presidential Inauguration and Swearing-in Ceremony, a weekly change of guard parade in the State House, and also other regimental parades done by the brigade. And finally, the parade adjutant is mounted on a Sudanese horse called Yusuf. It was donated by the former Commander Guards Brigade, Major General M.S. Yusuf, in 2015. The horse weighs 340 kilograms. It was used during the 2019 Presidential Inauguration and Swearing-in Ceremony, a regular use in the weekly change of guard parade and other brigade regimental parades.
May we please usher His Excellency, the special guest of honor, the Revenue Officer, back to his seat, please. Thank you. A round of applause for him, please. Can we put our hands together for him, please? Thank you. place. Individual guard halt in there. Articulately synchronized. Please, thank you. May I, at this juncture, pass over the mic to my co-compare, Captain Haruna Tagwai, to take us through the next segment. Captain Tagwai, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Major Paul Abara, retired.
In the parade,
Your
just lower
Excellencies,
big time, all signifying loyalty to the Commander-in-Chief himself. And we saw 6 guards of 48 people each, 45 marching with 1 guard commander and 2 guard assistants. We are expecting a military musical display, silent drill, and a cultural troop performance, all lined up for your delight on this auspicious occasion. President Muhammadu Buhari at the moment is exchanging pleasantries with invited dignitaries and other foreign leaders here at the Eagle Square at the moment. Remember, I did tell you that on the 29th of May, during his inauguration, the presidential speech was expunged from the agenda. But today we will be expecting that presidential speech because a lot will be anchored upon it. So President Buhari now going to sit down for a while. He's been standing up all this while he arrived the Eagle Square. It's time to take a little rest while entertainment follows next. But of course, you're watching all these live on the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
And Guards Brigade Band to take their position for the commencement of the various displays. And right now, what we're witnessing is the silent drill team that have just advanced forward to commence with their own display. The first display we'll be witnessing is titled Infinity. The essence of silent drill is basically for entertainment.
La chanson donc c'est que nous voyons maintenant la sortie des militaires, ils disent seulement à divertir.
The melody we are listening to right now is titled Conqueror. It was composed by Laila N. Morris and was arranged for the military band by Namgogodia Raymond. It will interest our excellencies to know that there are 12 types of silent drills, and this is the first one, Infinity, that was last displayed during the 76th birthday of His Excellency, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari. Various formations being formed there, where we are seeing the synchronization of foot drills as well as display great expertise in weapon handling.
Synchronisation harmonieuse de chaque
Beautiful with light formation there. The changing of weapons from one hand to the other. This is lovely. Please, another resounding round of applause for the various formations being formed there by the Silent Drill team, all in commemoration of the Democracy Day celebration of our great nation, Nigeria. Silent Drill, such a delight to witness any day, anytime. A round of applause again for the beautiful performance. It has to do with coordination, focus, and determination. This took weeks and months of rehearsals to bring out the best which we are witnessing today. It will impress our excellencies and special guests to know that there are 17 females and 16 males in the Silent Drill team, all drawn from the 5 guards under Guards Brigade, namely the 7 Guards Battalion, the 102 Guards Battalion, 176, 177 Guards Battalions, and the Guards Brigade Garrison. Beautiful. A round of applause for that unique formation. A round of applause for that group photograph posture formation by the Silent Drill team. Lovely. compliment being paid there. A round of applause for the Silent Field team after that wonderful performance, all in commemoration of Democracy Day celebration of our great nation, Nigeria. As the cultural troops take the center stage, may I hand over the microphone to Mr. ABC. Thank you very much.
A dance entitled Farmer's Dance. We are all living witnesses to the giant strides that have been made in the agriculture sector under the administration of our wonderful president. This dance is from the southwestern part of Nigeria, precisely among the Yoruba-speaking people of Nigeria. Here the men are showing us the entire process of traditional farming to celebrate this wonderful day of June 12, our Democracy Day. Having tilled and made the hips, the space is now left open for our ladies to do the planting. In this part, the occupation of farming is an all-inclusive one. Both the male and female genders are involved and everybody has a part to play. Because, as Mr. President would say, we must feed our nation.
Excellences, mesdames et messieurs, ce que nous voyons est une danse intitulée la danse des cultivateurs. L'occupation prédominante des Nigérians est l'agriculture. C'est une occupation qui touche tous les groupes ethniques du pays. En tant qu'une source majeure de revenus, c'est un métier qui concerne tout le monde. Et ce que nous sommes en train de voir, ce sont les hommes qui sont à la ferme, alors que les femmes sont en train de danser.
There the ladies are harvesting and packing what has been harvested. Everybody must eat from what we produce. Some of these harvested crops are going into the export market. Some are going into the local market, and some will end up on our tables as delicious meals. All this.
Excellences, mesdames et messieurs, c'est le moment de la récolte. Certains de ces produits vont à l'exportation, certains seront utilisés dans les marchés locaux et certains vont finir dans nos foyers, comme nos repas. Et tout le monde doit y participer, tout le monde doit être nourri.
Yes, now it's time for the men to settle down to a good meal after a hard day's work. And while the men are eating, the ladies are entertaining them and enjoying themselves. And here comes the big Sato drum. This drum is peculiar to the Badagry people of Lagos State. As you can see, the drum only comes out during festive periods. And this occasion of June 12 Democracy Day is an apt occasion to celebrate with the Sato drum.
Excellences, mesdames et messieurs, le tam-tam que vous voyez provient de la région de Badagry de l'État de Lagos. Ce tam-tam est sorti seulement pour des cérémonies telles que nous sommes en train de fêter aujourd'hui. Et c'est le moment du repas. Pendant que les hommes sont en train de prendre leur repas, les femmes sont en train de danser pour divertir les hommes.
Now it's time to acknowledge the drums. The men are done eating. They have been energized. And here they go to play the big sato drum. As you can see, it's not a job for one person, it's a collective responsibility. And 5 or 6 of them are there doing the beautiful Badagry dance and playing the drum at the same time.
Maintenant, vous voyez que le repas est fini et les hommes sont bien nourris. Maintenant, ils ont la force et l'énergie d'aller battre le tantam sari. Tout le monde doit y prendre part.
This dance ensemble has been put together with the best of Nigerian artists drawn from the cultural centers across the nation. You have artists from as far as Kano, Katsina, Ogun, Osun, FCT. So many of the states are represented among these beautiful dancers.
Excellences, mesdames et messieurs, ce que vous êtes en train de regarder maintenant, c'est des danseurs venus de tous les coins du Nigeria. Il y a des danseurs venus de l'état de Kano, de Katsina et de toutes les régions du Nigeria. C'est une danse qui est très bien connue.
Beautiful picture there. Can we have a beautiful round of applause for these wonderful dancers? It's been a beautiful harvest on the occasion of June 12th, Democracy Day. This package is being prepared for an overseas trip to showcase Nigeria's culture outside. Thank you very much, the cultural troupe, as they seamlessly hand over back to the band to continue the trip. Captain Tagwai.
Thank you very much, Mr. ABC. Please, another resounding round of applause for the cultural troops for that wonderful display. Your Excellencies, most distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Next is the performance by the Guards Brigade Band. And the title of their display is Cross Formation. The melody being rendered right now is titled God's Big Match. It was composed by Major General Vansa, but was arranged for the military band by Major MC Donald.
La chanson à laquelle nous écoutons s'intitule Guards Gold Match. C'est composé par Major General Visa de la grande maître de monde Mac Donald. Comme vous constatez très bien, il y a une formation de croix faite par les militaires. Et voilà où se tire le nom de la chanson qui s'intitule Formation de croix.
Different formations being formed there by the band, while at the center being anchored by the drum major. the transition from the melody that speak much to I Remember When I Was a Soldier. It's a song that whenever it is being rendered brings the feeling of excitement, mostly for ex-servicemen, because it makes them remember when they were wearing their uniforms during their days in service. The song was composed by Major Raphael Invene, but was arranged for the military band by Staff Sergeant Audu Muhammad, the bandmaster.
J'étais un soldat, I remember when I was a soldier, c'est une chanson connue par tous les Nigérians, c'est une chanson très reconnue. C'est composé par le major Air. Nous allons ensemble mettre de bande Audu Mohamed Isaac.
Please, a round of applause for the display showcase so far. The next melody to be rendered is titled Dambaba. It was composed by late Major MacDonald, retired. This is one melody that there will be a fusion with the local drums from the cultural troops that will take over the melody being played right now, which is Dambaba, with their local instruments. The song Dambaba is dedicated to His Excellency the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, on this unique occasion, the first Democracy Day celebration of our great nation, Nigeria. May I once again hand over the microphone to Mr. Ayebisi.
Thank you very much, Captain Tagwai. Your Excellencies, we can witness this seamless takeover by the cultural troupe from the band, playing the same tune that was being played by the Guard Brigade Band. This is just a clear testimony to the harmony that exists between our armed forces and the civilian populace. This next performance by the cultural troupe is titled Resilience. Now, this is a virtue that is much needed in nation building. We all must have a sense of endurance, and this dance has been taken from the Fulani people of northern Nigeria, who on their own have devised a means of testing their men for strength, for perseverance, and the ability to endure.
La chanson que nous entendons maintenant s'intitule Dambaba et c'était composé par le Major MacDonald. La résilience est la capacité d'une personne à se développer bien, à continuer à se projeter dans l'avenir en dépit d'événements déstabilisants et de conditions très difficiles. Cette qualité et vertu est sans doute très importante dans la construction d'une nation. Et comme nous voyons sur scène, il s'agit ici des bergers nomadiques qui viennent du nord du pays et qui ont la tâche de faire des déplacements d'une région à une autre.
As the men head their cattle across the country, they must be prepared to face all dangers. And that is why they need to be strong, mentally and physically. At a certain time of the year, young men and young ladies of marriageable age come together in what is called the Sharu Festival. And during the festival, the men are tested for strength, and the lucky ones go home with brides. Here, the ladies are going to serve the men with the traditional, freshly squeezed milk called the Fura de Nono. This supposedly would energize the men for what lays ahead of them.
Ici, nous voyons les femmes qui sont en train de danser et qui, dans le fourra de nounou, une boisson traditionnelle ici au Nigeria, pour donner beaucoup d'énergie à ces hommes.
Yes, one of the beautiful Fulani maidens comes out to display and to tell the men, I am ready. I am ready for a suitor who is strong enough to protect me and protect my children.
La femme qui vient de sortir montre qu'elle est prête à se marier à un homme qui est capable de la protéger.
Obviously, we have two suitors contending for our hand here. Who is going to carry the day? We definitely must do a test of strength.
Puisqu'il y a deux prétendants, chaque homme doit se montrer capable alors de protéger sa femme de tous les dangers et défis qu'il peut éprouver. L'homme a été vaincu, alors il ne peut pas rentrer avec lui, il ne peut pas rentrer chez lui avec la femme. Peut-être l'année prochaine, dans notre nouvelle fête de la démocratie, il aura l'occasion de rentrer avec une femme.
Yes, the young man there celebrates his new bride. He's obviously proved himself strong and worthy to be called the man of the house. The loser obviously does not only lose faith, he also loses the respect of the community. And that has been the cultural truth in the dance cycle's website. And at this juncture, hand over back to the Nigerian Army Guards Brigade Band, as I also hand over to Captain Chakwa.
Thank you very much, Mr. ABC. Please, another resounding round of applause for the beautiful performance by the cultural troops. Your Excellencies, most distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As the Guards Brigade Band continue with their performance, after which will be the silent drill tune. Your Excellencies, happy viewing. Excellencies, most distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The performance is a fusion between the silent drill team and the Gas Brigade Band is titled Every Concert. The song was composed by Dan Oji, the signature tune of the now rested Nigerian Television Authority New Masquerade, a TV program series.
Que nous entendons s'intitule Masquerade, composé par Izet, Dan Orji, avec un maître de danse, Mireille Koulibaly.
Different formations being formed there by the Gas Brigade Band and the silent drill team. The synchronization of foot drill, weapon handling being displayed, as well as instruments being played, rendering such melodious tunes. Most distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. What we are witnessing right now is an all-round formation symbolizing protection that the armed forces provide for our dear nation Nigeria as the cultural troops move in for their next performance. May I at this moment hand over the microphone back to Mr. Ayegisi.
Thank you very much, Captain Tagwai. This is a true story of our nation where our armed forces, comprising the Nigerian Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the police provide protection for the civilian populace as they go about their daily responsibilities. All the way from the south and the southeastern part of the country comes this dance called the fishermen dance. Now, because of the proximity to waters, particularly the Atlantic Ocean, most Nigerians in that part are fishermen. They use all methods to fish. They fish with nets, they fish with baskets, even calabashes. The important thing is to make a good fishing catch. All this being done under the watchful eyes of the Nigerian Armed Forces, who offer protection and safety for the civilian people to go about their responsibilities.
Excellences, mesdames et messieurs, ce que nous voyons maintenant est une formation englobante qui souligne l'amitié entre les militaires et la population civile. Cette danse tire son inspiration des États côtiers entourés par l'océan Atlantique. La proximité de ces peuples à l'océan les oblige d'être pêcheurs. Mais nous devons mettre l'accent sur le fait que les militaires sont toujours prêts à protéger les personnes qui ont avoué d'offrir leur protection et leur vie.
Having used the net to fish, the fishermen now use another method, wicker basket, all to ensure that there is a good dose of protein on our meals.
Excellences, mesdames et messieurs, après avoir utilisé les filets, les pêcheurs sont en train d'utiliser maintenant des paniers. Ils font tout pour s'assurer qu'il y a suffisamment de protéines pour toute la famille.
Once again, these artists have been drawn from across the nation under the direction of the artistic director of the National Carnival, Mr. Biodun Abe, who has been taking them through some very rigorous training.
Une fois de plus, tous les artistes et les danseurs que vous voyez proviennent de toutes les régions du pays, sous la direction de M. Abiodun qui les dirige.
Dancing, weaving in between the men of the armed forces who have offered protection and saying thank you for being there for us. Thank you for the great sacrifices you are making. We appreciate you. This is a clear testimony to the beautiful relationship that exists between our armed forces and the Nigerian population. Thank you very much, the cultural troupe. It's time to hand over back again to the Army Band and the Silent Drill Train and Captain Tagwa.
Thank you very much, Mr. ABC. Please, another resounding round of applause for the cultural troops for that wonderful display. Now, the Silent Drill Team and the Gas Brigade Band will collapse the formation that was symbolizing the protection that is usually being given, which is the distinct role of defending the territorial integrity of our nation, Nigeria. Your Excellencies, most distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, climaxing the entertainment segment is the formation that very soon we'll be witnessing being put together by the Silent Drill team on this unique and auspicious occasion, the Democracy Day celebration of our great nation, Nigeria. This is the spelling of June 12th, signifying the first Democracy Day celebration of our great nation, Nigeria. June 12th being spelled there. Please a round of applause as the music I Love Nigeria comes in, which is expected of all. In as much as we love our country, Nigeria, we are supposed to give our best in all. June 12th being spelled there, climaxing the various displays that have been showcased this day. The first Democracy Day celebration of our great nation, Nigeria. Please, another resounding round of applause for the various displays that we have been witnessing. Beautiful. Your Excellencies, most distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, with the various performances that have been displayed by the Silent Drill team, Guards Brigade Band, as well as the cultural troops from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, it will interest all to know that the various teams have been chosen to represent Nigeria in the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo coming up in Scotland from July to August 2019.
Mesdames et messieurs, j'ai l'honneur de vous informer que ces bancs que vous voyez est à Edinburgh au mois de juillet 2019.
By the Silent Drill team and the Guards Brigade Band. Please, a round of applause for them as they exit the arena after those wonderful displays being showcased. May I, at this moment, hand over the microphone back to Major Paul Abara, retired. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain Tagwai. We witnessed the dexterity of the Silent Drill Squad, the Guards Brigade Band, and of course the rich cultural heritage of our great nation, Nigeria. Quite entertaining, exciting, and worth Your Excellency's while.
Been watching synchronized displays by the Guards Brigade troops and the National Cultural Ensemble, all in celebration of Nigeria's National Democracy Day. Any moment from now, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, will present the Democracy Day address, part of which will also be the inaugural address for his second term in office.
And of course, the entertainment is worth the while. We saw the collaborative effort of the armed forces and members of the cultural troop. So like Lami said, it's A big day here at the Eagle Square. And up next will be the presidential address.
A resounding round of applause, please. Put your hands together. Proper synchronization there. The special guest of honor, Reviewing Officer, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, Her Excellency the First Lady, Your Excellency the Vice President and spouse, Your Excellencies visiting Presidents, visiting Heads of State, and Heads of Government Delegation, Your Excellencies, former President, former Heads of State of our great nation, Nigeria here present, Your Excellencies, former Vice Presidents, Chiefs of General Staff here present, Your Excellencies, the Doyen and members of the Diplomatic Corps, the distinguished Senate President, Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, party leaders, chairmen and chieftains, distinguished and honorable members of the National Assembly here present, Your Lordships, Justices here present, Chairman of the Central Organizing Committee, 2019 Presidential Inauguration and Democracy Day celebrations, Head of Service of the Federation, Permanent Secretaries of Federal Ministries, Principal Staff Officers of the Presidency and Defense Headquarters, the Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs and Inspector General Police, Principal Staff Officers, Services Headquarters, Heads of Paramilitary Agencies, very senior military officers, Chieftains and Captains of the organized private sector, Your Royal Highnesses, my Lord Spiritual and Temporal, Chief Executives of the print and electronic media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the high point of this occasion. May I, at this juncture, very diligently and most respectfully request the special guest of honor, Reviewing Officer, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, to please present the Democracy Day address. Your Excellency, sir.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, the visiting President and their spouses, Your Excellency, the Vice President, Yemi Oshubanjo, wives of the President and the Vice President, representatives of the heads of state and governments, the Senate President, Speaker, House of Representatives, Acting Chief Justice of the Federation, members of the National Assembly, members of the National Assembly, former governors and party leaders, members of the Diplomatic Corps, service chiefs, Inspector General of Police, and other heads of security organizations, APC party faithfuls and stalwarts, senior government officials, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. All praise is due to God Almighty, who spared our lives to be present at this occasion. We give thanks also that the democratic process has been further entrenched and strengthened. Nearly 20 years ago, a democratically elected government took over from the military in a historic transfer of political power for our country. Today, we are privileged to mark the longest period of unbroken democratic leadership and fifth peaceful transfer of power from one democratically elected government to another in Nigeria. Throughout the last 4 years, I respected the independence of INEC. I ensured that INEC got all the resources it needed for independent and impartial management of elections in the country. All interested parties are agreed that the recent elections, which, except for pockets of unrest, were free, fair, and peaceful. I thank all the people who worked for our party, who campaigned, and who voted for us. I thank my fellow Nigerians who, since 2003, have consistently voted for me. Victory is your greatest reward. Peace, unity, and greater prosperity will be our collective legacy. Your Excellencies, fellow Nigerians, I and the Nigerians collectively must give adequate thanks to our armed forces, police, and other law enforcement agencies for working around the clock to protect us by putting themselves in harm's way and defending our values and protecting our future. Terrorism and insecurity are worldwide phenomena, and even the best policed countries are experiencing increasing incidents of unrest and are finding things hard to cope. The principal thrust of this new administration is to consolidate on the achievements of the last 4 years, correct the lapses inevitable in all human endeavors, and tackle the new challenges the country is faced with, and chart a bold plan for transforming Nigeria. Fellow Nigerians, I have had the privilege of free education from primary school to staff college to war college. I received my formative education in Katsina and Kaduna, and my higher education in England, India, and the United States. I have worked and served in Kaduna, Lagos, Abeokuta, Makadi, Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, Ibadan, Jos, and finally here in Abuja. Throughout my adult life, I have been a public servant. I have no other career but public service. I know no service but public service. I was involved at close quarters in the struggle to keep Nigeria one. I can therefore do no more than dedicate the rest of my life to work for the unity of Nigeria and the upliftment of Nigerians. In 2003, 2002 and 2003, campaigns and elections I traveled by road to 34 of the 36 states of the Federation. This year, I traveled by air to all 36 states of the Federation. Before enduring my time in the armed forces and in government, I have interacted with Nigerians of all ages and persuasions and different shades of opinion over a period of more than 50 years. And my firm belief is that our people, above all, want to live in peace and harmony with their fellow Nigerians. They desire opportunity to better themselves in a safe environment. Most of the instances of intercommunal and interreligious strife and violence were and still are as a result of sponsorship or incitement by ethnic, political, or religious leaders hoping to benefit by exploiting our divisions and fault lines, thereby weakening our country. And our country, Nigeria, is a great country. According to United Nations estimates, our population will rise to 411 million by 2050, making us the third most populous nation on earth, behind only China and India. We have water, arable land, forests, oil and gas, and vast quantities of solid minerals. We are blessed with an equable climate. However, the bulk of our real wealth lies in agriculture, livestock, forestry, and mining. We possess all the ingredients of a major economic power on the world stage. What we require is the will to get our acts together, and our strength is in our people, our youth, our culture, our resilience, our ability to succeed despite the odds. A huge responsibility before rests on this and succeeding administration to develop, harness, and fulfill our enormous potential into force to be reckoned with globally. Thus far, we Nigerians can be proud of our history since independence in 1960. We have contributed to United Nations peacekeeping responsibilities all over the world. We have stabilized Liberia, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, and 2 years ago, we prevented the Gambia from degenerating into anarchy. Without Nigerian influence and resources, the liberation of Angola, Mozambique, Namibia, Zimbabwe, and ultimately South Africa would have come at great cost. This fact has been attested by none other than the late Nelson Mandela himself. Elsewhere, Nigeria is the big brother to our neighbors. We are the shock absorber of the West African sub-region, the bulwark of ECOWAS and Lake Chad Basin Commission. We can therefore be proud to be Nigerians. We must continue to be good neighbors and good citizens. At home, we have been successful in forging a nation from different ethnicities and language groups. Our evolution and integration into one nation continues apace. When, therefore, we came to office in 2015, after a decade of struggle, we identified 3 cardinal and existential challenges our country faced and made them our campaign focus, namely security, economy, and fighting corruption. None but the most partisan will dispute that in the last 4 years, we have made solid progress in addressing these challenges. When I took the oath of office on 29th May 2015, insecurity reigned. Apart from occupying 18 local governments in the northeast, Boko Haram could at will attack any city, including the federal capital, could threaten any institution, including bombing the United Nations building and police headquarters in Abuja. Admittedly, some of the challenges still remain in kidnappings, banditry in some rural areas. The great difference between 2015 and today is that we are meeting these challenges with much greater support to the security forces in terms of money, equipment, and improved local intelligence. We are meeting these challenges with superior strategy, firepower, and resolve. In face of these challenges, our government elected by the people in 2015 and re-elected in March has been mapping out policies, measures, and laws to maintain our unity and at the same time lift the bulk of our people out of poverty and onto the road to prosperity. This task is by no means unattainable. China has done it. India has done it. Indonesia has done it. Nigeria can do it. These are all countries characterized by huge burdens of population. China and Indonesia succeeded under authoritarian regimes. India succeeded in a democratic setting. We can do it. With leadership and sense of purpose, we can lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years. Following the 60% drop in oil prices between 2015 and 2016, through monetary and fiscal measures, we stimulated economic growth, curbed inflation, and shored up our external reserves. We now have witnessed 8 quarters of positive growth in the economy, and our GDP is expected to grow by 2.7% this year. Furthermore, our external reserves have risen to 45 billion United States dollars, enough to finance over 9 months of current import commitments. This administration is laying the foundation and taking bold steps in transforming our country and liberating our people from the shackles of poverty. First, we will take steps to integrate rural economies to the national economic grid by extending access to small-scale credits and inputs to rural farmers, credit to rural micro businesses, and opening up many critical feeder roads. Secondly, for small-scale enterprises in towns and cities, we shall expand facilities currently available so that we can continue to encourage and support domestic production of basic goods and reduce our reliance of imported goods, as I will outline later. For the next 4 years, we will remain committed to improving the lives of people by consolidating efforts to address these key issues, as well as emerging challenges of climate change, resettling displaced communities, and dealing decisively with the few flashes of insecurity across the country and the impacts of food scarcity and regional stability. We are not daunted by the enormity of the task ahead. Instead, we are revived by this new mandate to work collaboratively with state and local governments, legislators, the diplomatic corps, and all Nigerians to rebuild and reposition our country as a heartbeat and reference point for our continent. Fellow Nigerians, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, despite the enormous resources pledged to infrastructure development these past 4 years, there remains the urgent need to modernize our roads and bridges, electricity grid, ports, and rail system. B, whilst agriculture and industrial output have recovered since the recession, we are more committed than ever to work with the private sector to improve productivity and accelerate economic growth. The Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, which is the gauge of manufacturing activity in the country, has arisen from 26 consecutive months since March 2017, indicating growth and expansion in our manufacturing sector. It still takes too long for goods to clear at our seaports, and the roads leading to them are congested. It still takes too long for routine and regulatory approvals to be secured. These issues affect our productivity, and we are committed to addressing them permanently. E, our government will continue to reduce social and economic inequality through targeted social investment programs, education, technology, and improved information. F, our social intervention programs are a model for other nations. Together with state governments, we provide millions of school children with meals in primary schools, microloans to traders and entrepreneurs, skills and knowledge acquisition support to graduates, and of course, conditional cash transfers to the poorest and most vulnerable in our society. A database of poor and vulnerable households is being carefully built based on age, gender, disability, educational levels, for proper planning in this administration's war against poverty. A database of unemployed but qualified youth has also been developed under the National Social Investment Program, which can be used by the public and private sectors for recruitment purposes. Cumulatively, nearly 2 million beneficiaries have received aid under this program, apart from Anchor's Borrowers Program and School Feeding Initiative, each reaching 2 million recipients. And we will do more, much more. Fellow Nigerians, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we know that there exists a strong correlation between economic inequality and insecurity. When economic inequality rises, insecurity rises. But when we actively reduce inequality through investments in social and hard infrastructure, insecurity reduces. The disturbing increase in rates of kidnapping, banditry, and other criminal activities can be attributed to the decades of neglect and corruption in social investment, infrastructure development, education, and healthcare. This issue is further compounded by the impact of our changing climate and ecology. The ECOWAS and Sahel regions, starting from Chad all the way to Mali, are also experiencing adverse impacts of drought and desertification, which have triggered waves of human displacement, conflicts between farmers and herdsmen, terrorism, and a fundamental socio-economic change to our way of life. These issues are regional and not unique to Nigeria alone. The problems call for increased regional and international cooperation in developing a sustainable solution. As chairman of ECOWAS, I will be hosting a regional security summit of heads of states in the Sahel to develop a joint strategy to continue our efforts in addressing these issues. Fellow Nigerians, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at the heart of inequality and insecurity is pervasive corruption. When we took office, we realized if we fight corruption, corruption will fight back. And we have seen this at all levels. For Nigeria to progress, a collective resolution to address corruption and foster broad-based prosperity is required to create a country that is not only for a few privileged, but for all Nigerians. This charge is not only to civil servants, ministers, legislators, and state government functionaries, but also to corporate leaders. We shall make greater investments in our rural economies. We shall aggressively source locally our raw materials. We have incentives for investments specifically made in rural communities. However, nationwide development cannot occur from Abuja alone. It must occur at states, and government cannot do it alone. I therefore implore all state governments, especially those with large rural communities, to aggressively solicit investments in your states. Invest in developing human capital, reducing bureaucracy and corruption, hosting and attending investment summits, and improving the ease of doing business. At this point, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the entrepreneurs, investors, and venture capitalists who have built or are building agro-processing projects, petrochemical plants, crude oil and solid mineral refineries, energy exploration, software development projects, telecom, infrastructure, health, education, and manufacturing projects, and the like across our country. I would like to make special mention to promoters of our small businesses that are proudly making goods and services export and for local consumption. The Nigerian economy rises and falls on the strength of your investments and productivity. We will continue to listen to your ideas and plans, not just about how we can secure more investment, but how your plans can help create more equitable economy. I also thank the labor unions, farmer groups, and associations, organized private sector, and the civil society organization for their support and cooperation with our government these last 4 years. We will continue to count on your support, guidance, and understanding during the next 4 years. I especially thank our traditional leaders and congratulate re-elected and newly elected state governors and members of the National Assembly. Our government will continue to count on your support so that we can together move our country forward. Fellow Nigerians, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, despite these challenges over the last 4 years, my optimism about Nigeria's future is unshakable, and Nigeria's role in the world as an emerging economic force is without doubt. Over the next 4 years, we are committed to assembling a strong team of Nigerians and allies to implement our transformative plans and proposals. We will see significant focus, resource, and where necessary reform in tertiary and technical education to reposition Nigeria's workforce for the modern technological age. We will accelerate investments in primary, secondary, tertiary healthcare programs, intervention and infrastructure, as well as in upgrading of our medical personnel to stem the flight of our best trained people. On food security, our farmers have made great strides in local production of rice, maize, cassava, poultry, fertilizer, fisheries, and system. We remain resolute in supporting private sector in emphasizing backward integration and export expansion plans. Felling of trees to provide energy for domestic use is taking its toll on our rainforests, our ecology, and our climate. Accordingly, we are taking steps to harness cleaner and more sustainable source of electricity. We export more than 2 million tons of cooking gas, yet we consume less than 500,000 tons. We will work to address this issue and support rural communities with challenges of safety switching from firewood to cooking gas. Dedicated agro-industrial processing zones will be developed on a PPP basis to increase farming yields, agricultural productivity, and industrial output. Over 2,000 kilometers of ongoing federal road and bridge projects across the country will be completed to reduce journey times and the cost of doing business. As I mentioned earlier, critical feeder roads will be built to facilitate easier transportation for people and goods for rural areas to major roads. We are at the advanced stage of securing investment to modernize and expand our transmission and distribution infrastructure, ensuring that electricity is available and affordable for all Nigerians. Several rail, seaport, and airport projects are at various stages of completion. We will open the arteries of transportation nationwide. It is a fact that Nigeria has more gas reserves than it has oil. Over the last 4 years, we have become a net exporter of urea, which is made from natural gas. We invite investors to develop more natural gas-based petrochemical projects. Fellow Nigerians, this government will not tolerate actions by any individual or groups of individuals who seek to attack our way of life, or those who seek to corruptly enrich themselves at the expense of the rest of us. We will crack down on those who incite ordinary, innocent people to violence and unrest. We will ensure that such actions are met with a strong arm of the law. Nation building takes time, but we must take solace in the knowledge that this country, our country, has everything we require to make Nigeria prosper. Fellow Nigerians, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to join me in this journey of rebuilding our nation. Our focus will not be to help the privileged few, but to ensure that Nigeria works for Nigerians of all persuasions. That is a more just arrangement. As we all know, correcting injustice is a prerequisite for peace and unity. As part of the process of healing and reconciliation, I approve the recognition of June 12 as Democracy Day and invested the late Chief Abiola and Babagana Kingibe with national honors, as I did with late Chief Gani Ferhemi. The purpose was to partially atone for the previous damage done in annulling the presidential elections of that year. Today, I propose the renaming of the Abuja National Stadium henceforth. It will be called Moshood Abiola National Stadium. In my first term, we put Nigeria back on its feet. We are working again despite a difficult environment in oil on which we depend too much for our export. We encountered huge resistance from vested interests who do not want change, but change has come. We now must move to the next level. By the grace of God, I intend to keep oath I have taken today and to serve as President for all Nigerians. I thank you for attending this august occasion from far and near, and for all your best wishes to me, to our party, and to Nigeria. God bless us all. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
He deserves a standing ovation, please. Thank you. The maiden Democracy Day address by the special guest of honor, Tribune Officer, President Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari. Very enlightening, elaborate, and reassuring. Thank you. Parade Commander, please. Your Excellencies, may please take your seats, please. Thank you. Take your seats. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you. Parade Commander. Cameraman, can you please exit where you are there in front of the saluting desk, please? Thank you.
To the special guest of honor, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, Grand Commander, Federal Republic, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Hep, hep, hep. Hep, hep, hep.
Shortly, we're going to have the national anthem. Please, you are all expected to rise. Officers and warrant officers in your country, please salute. Thank you. Excellencies may please take your seats. Thank you. The national anthem over, the parade commander marches on the horseback towards the presidential dais to seek the presidential permission of Mr. President to march up the colors and the rest of the parade, thus bringing us to the end of this epoch-making ceremony.
March of the colors and the rest of the parade. Your Excellency.
Presidential permission sought there and given. Please, we want to caution the security operatives to ensure that everybody in the Eagle Square waits and allows the special guest of honor, the visiting presidents, heads of state, and dignitaries move before they start exiting wherever they are seated. Please. Security operatives, please take care, please. All too soon, Your Excellencies, we've come to the end of this basically unique and epoch-making maiden ceremony of the Democracy Day, June 12, 2019. On behalf of the chairman of the Central Organizing Committee of the 2019 Presidential Inauguration Ceremony and the Democracy Day celebrations, Mr. Boss Mustafa, and the entire executive members of his committees, we wish one and all journey messages to your respective destinations. We appreciate most sincerely your excellencies for honoring these invitations. Your anchors have been Captain Haruna Tagwai of the Gas Brigade Headquarters, Mr. Ibere Young, MFR, Morayo Afolabi Brown, Kayode Ayegusi of the Ministry of Information and Culture, Timothy John, Flight Lieutenant Olayinka Lawal, Emmanuel Musa of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and yours sincerely, Major Paul Abara, a retired officer, formerly of the Directorate of Army Public Relations. This is wishing one and all joining messages back to our respective destinations. Thank you, God bless, until we meet in 2020. Adieu, au revoir, bon voyage. Thank you, God bless you. Security operatives, please ensure we wait and allow dignitaries to exit the Eagle Square before we take our exit, please. Security operatives, please. Thank you.
Sorry.
of us.
Well, that's the conclusion of the trailblazing celebration of the nationally celebrated Democracy Day in Nigeria. And just like the Masters of Ceremony said at Eagle Square, we look forward to another celebration in the year 2020. But quickly, Mr. President, in his democracy address, highlighted a number of issues, but key among them was he said Nigerians across the divide, across board, across sectors, across the governmental structures, across the tiers of government should join in rebuilding Nigeria for a better society. He has also said that change has come and Nigerians must move to the next level. And fundamentally is the fact that from Good Morning Nigeria this morning, one of the guests has said that a monumental thing should be named after Moshood Abiola, and Mr. President has graciously named the National Stadium in Abuja after MKO Abiola. I believe a lot of this will be named after him in the country, but MKO was a pillar of soccer in Nigeria. Quickly too, he has talked about the need to reposition the workforce in education, agriculture, healthcare, road infrastructure, mostly on feeder roads to enable farmers bring their produce to the market. And a lot of other things. One other one I will not forget if I go to Professor Yakub is the fact that pervasive corruption is still focal. He has talked about a collective revolution in the fight against corruption in Nigeria. And has also said that as chairman of ECOWAS, Nigeria will soon convene a security summit of heads of states of member countries to re-strategize on the fight against security in the West African sub-region. Well, quickly, Professor Nuhu Yakub, my guest, is still here. In summary, what will you make of Mr. President's Democracy Day speech?
I think we should praise him for the courage he has exhibited, right from the decision to make trade well.
years, and of course June 12th everywhere in this country. Now the new day for democracy. My name is Tutu Ayuno. This is Citizen Information Network, and what we do is, of course, this is Citizen Information Network once again, and my name is Tutu Ayuno. It's been a live coverage of the June 12th Democracy Day celebration at the Eagle Square in Abuja. And of course, that was a lengthy speech by our president. Yes, now, because we remember May 29 during his inauguration, he didn't give any speech, and some people were of the opinion that, well, you have been inaugurated into office for the second term, there should be a speech. You should tell Nigerians about your achievements during the first tenure, and of course your plan going to this second tenure. Well, for those who have been waiting and who have so much criticized the president and felt like the president should have given a speech, now we have a speech issued today on Democracy Day, because there were hints already that it was intentional to have not delivered any speech on the inauguration day, that it's best left, then the speech will come today. Now we have it already, and the National Stadium Abuja has just been named after MKO Abiola. In case you do not know the significance of June 12th in the history of Nigeria, June 12th happens to be the day that an election, the presidential election, was conducted in 1993, and the election was then known by the then president, military president of the country, Ibrahim Babangida. Yeah, MK Abiola is the winner of that election, and of course he had more votes compared to Tafa, his main rival in that particular election. But now we have it, and all of the agitations have been laid to rest. Yes, most people since the return of democracy in 1999 have been advocating that June 12th should be the day of the democracy day in this country, and not May 29. Now we have it. Now we have the speech from the president. So we just hope that it's going to be a smooth sail, and this next dispensation, the second term, will be better than what we witnessed in the first term. Then in his speech, the president did identify the issues we have in the country, insecurity being a very big and major issue in the country at the moment. And we can all agree with the president that it's indeed something that that is very sad, and no Nigerian is happy about it. But now that we have this, and we have the Democracy Day, we've listened to the speech, we hope so much will be done about it. Not to forget that there's been so many mobilization in the past, and some people are calling that there should be change in the chief of the defense staff, the army forces, and all of so that we have new people to lead at the second term. But we are going to wait for that and see if the president is going to make these changes, or is going to stick with those he have already. And then also we're still going to wait for the ministers, because now yesterday, as we know, we have newly elected leaders of the presiding officers for the National Assembly, talking about Ahmed Lawan as the Senate President, and Obi Omo-Agege as the Deputy Senate President. And then at the House of Representatives, we have Jabia Miller as the Honorable Speaker, and of course Wasi as the Deputy Speaker. Now that the APC and the President have those they wanted to lead the House in that position already, we are hoping that before we know it, we should have the list of ministers released, submitted to the House, and we expect the National Assembly to do what they have to do, so at least we can keep the economy running. Yeah, we cannot forget about the fact that we have so much unemployment in the country at the moment, and a lot needs to be done for us to salvage the economy. So at this point, we want to thank you very much for staying with us for our live coverage of the Democracy Day. We do have so many other interesting programs coming up. We have the exposure with Rebecca Irabo, and today she's going to be talking about sex before marriage. Well, I wish I'd be part of that program, but I won't be on set. I will definitely listen and follow the conversation live. I'm married, but then again, you know what I'm talking about. You had sex before marriage, right? Okay, no, you didn't. Yeah, you didn't. You didn't. it. Congratulations to you if you didn't. Thumbs up to you. And if you did, man, you have vast experience. I know you are enjoying your marriage now. I'm just kidding. Then we have the news with Akbarero Henry Akos, and all of this and many more Citizen Information Network. Thank you very much for staying with us, and thank you for trusting us to bring you information. And thank you again to NTA, because we had to link up with NTA for the live coverage of the president, the Democracy Day. So on behalf of every member of the crew, we want to thank you very much as we ask you to join us during the next program coming shortly with Rebecca Rabo, and I guess we will be discussing sex before marriage with her. All right, from me, I say continue to have a wonderful day. And do not forget, of course, to join us live on Metro FM later by 7 p.m. Nigerian time today for the program called The Hangouts. Yes, where we're going to talk about anything and everything. So you can also listen to us live online on www.metro977.fm, or if you happen to stream live on CIN Nigeria, then you get to see us live also. Thank you very much once again. I say bye. Do have a wonderful Democracy Day celebration.